I'm about to transform a simple illustration from a kid's coloring book into a masterpiece. Stay tuned. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. One of my favorite shows that I used to like watching growing up is Eureka's Castle back in the early 90s. It was similar to Sesame Street because it had the Muppets and the short little skits, but it was a little different, a little zanier. Fun fact, this was one of R.L. Stine's first TV projects before he became known for his Goosebumps books. I had this vintage coloring book and I can't wait to get started, so let's just dive in and turn a simple illustration into a masterpiece. So I wanted to find an image of my favorite character on the show, and that was Eureka. One of the challenges of choosing a picture from one of these older books is that they are harder to come by and many of the pages are already colored or drawn on. Can you imagine that? Some kid coloring inside a kid's coloring book? Ugh. Anyway, I was happy to find one that I actually liked. Another challenge about these older books is that they use newsprint material for their pages. Compared to today's coloring books, this paper was usually very thin and you can see artwork from the opposite side of the page. I feel like I'm looking into my past. Not only that, but blending is also more difficult to achieve because when you're blending, you're coloring over an already colored area, which starts to wear down that spot and making the color look really smudgy. The paper also has sort of a brown tint instead of a pure white and is prone to yellowing over time. Nevertheless, we are just doing this for fun, and it's not like I'm trying to create a piece for a museum or anything like that. But that would be pretty cool though. Not only do I find enjoyment in coloring these classic books, but it's pure nostalgia for me. The number one thing that drains my wallet. It's not like you can walk into a Barnes& and Noble and pick one of these up. This book is from the 80s, and not many people just have these lying around. I remember watching this show in the morning with my older sister and having fun with all the songs and jokes. Being a kid in the 80s and early 90s, TV was a big deal. We didn't have streaming back then, so you had to be at the right place at the right time and watch countless ads. Okay, maybe we still watch countless ads today still, but it was different back then. At least ones that played during these kids shows were fun, like toys and cereal. There wasn't even much merchandise made for this show. Working on the hair was kind of fun. It's blonde, but it also had this cotton candy effect with the colors. She has some highlights in the front and in her braids that blended light blue and bright pink. So I had to attempt that same effect with the color pencils on this old newsprint paper while blending those colors into a blonde color. I know it may not look blonde in the video, but I used a pasty peach color because that's what blonde looks like to me. So the next time you see someone blonde, tell them they have pasty peach hair. They'll look very confused, but that means they love it. Her skin tone is very pasty tan. It kind of blends in with her hair, which is a bit of a challenge also, but it helped when I began adding some shadow. So it kind of gives it some dimension that it is a Muppet. By the way, you should tell someone they are pasty tan. That would be hilarious. So I like to start doing like that base color starting out with like a really light color over um, every shape, every part that I wanted to be that color. And then it looks very basic at first, but once you start adding in the darker color around the edges where the shadows would be, that's the magic that gives it that dimension. And if you could like just shade it just right, start from a dark and fade it into a lighter color into the lightest color. I know that sounds hard to explain, but that's how you get that shadowing effect. For her gown, I love the electric blue color that they had on the show. So it was all like this electric blue fabric. So I kind of wanted to capture that same effect. And as you can see, there's like a lot of little glass jewels on it. So in a bit, I will attempt to make it look like see-through glass, which is also pretty tough for me. I do not claim to be a professional colorist if that is a job. So a lot of what you're seeing is me still learning color basics and color blending. I'm an artist. I like to draw. I kept everything black and white, but I love like coloring like on my own time. So this is my attempt. So it's almost like I'm learning with you guys. So same as always, start with the light color and do the dark shadows. And I love the dark shadow blue and that effect, that dimension effect really works well with this because I could get the roundness of her elbows and the folds in her gown. So then I wanted to do for the cup. I didn't really know what color to do, but I wanted to do something where it's like not too contrasty with the colors that I've chosen for the gown, the skin color. I didn't want to do anything like red because that would distract from the rest of the image. So I chose sort of like a teal color. So start with like the darker edges on the side, so it gives it that roundedness. And then I get like a darker teal shade and go on the bottoms of the lip of the cup and the bottom of the cup itself. And then for the decorations on it, I wanted to try to do sort of a bronze gold color because I felt like that was like the perfect kind of contrast to go with the cup and also with her dress or her gown, whatever it is. I wanted to try to make it related to that. So for the jewels on her gown, uh, on the show is kind of like a embossed piece of like moon and the stars. So that's why I started adding like the darker shades to it so I could try to give it some pop and not so much like a flat color. And for the pieces, the rounded pieces that are on her gown, uh, they're like a teardrop glass. So it looks like a clear glass, but you can see right through it. So I try to give it that dark blue color with a shine of white. At one point, I was kind of getting tired when I was coloring this, and I dozed off, and I accidentally made a mark with a pencil. Oh no! I was able to erase it as best I could, but that's why it's important so that you get enough sleep, which I do not. So, no mistakes here, just happy little accidents, right? So there you guys have it. What do you think? What do you want me to color next? Leave it in the comments below, and I will see you in the next show.